One half I, 28M, am finally sitting in my home office, staring at a stack of legal documents that represent the absolute end of a 5-year nightmare. My ex-fiancé, 26F, and I broke up 3 months ago, and honestly, it's been the most expensive and exhausting period of my life. To the outside world, she was this ambitious influencer type, always curated, always perfect. To me, she was a financial black hole who hadn't contributed a single cent to our mortgage or utilities in 3 years. The breakup wasn't a clean break, it was a full-scale extraction. I actually had to change the locks after she tried to sell my $4,000 gaming rig on Facebook Marketplace while I was at work just to fund her transition period. When she finally moved out into a tiny apartment she claimed was a luxury loft, she blocked me on everything except Instagram. She clearly wanted me to see the glow up. Yesterday, she posted a photo. She's wearing this designer coat, one I know for a fact is rented, holding a Starbucks cup and looking out of a high-rise window. The caption read, "Finally cut the dead weight. Living my best life without the anchor holding me back. Success is the best revenge." And hashtag 129346, Sparkles hashtag independent hashtag CEO hashtag level up. I didn't get angry. I didn't call her to argue. I simply hovered my thumb over the screen and liked the post. I knew something she didn't think I'd find out. I knew where that high-rise was. It wasn't her apartment. It was the lobby of a dental office where she had an appointment. More importantly, I knew why my bank account was suddenly missing $1,200. Did you see it? My best friend called me within minutes, sounding way more annoyed than I was. The post? Yeah. I liked it, I said, leaning back in my chair. She called you dead weight, man. You paid for her entire life. Her car, her Botox, her business that never made a dime. Are you really going to let her pivot the narrative like she's the one who escaped? Let her play, I told him. The higher she climbs on that fake pedestal, the harder the floor is going to feel. Just keep an eye on the comments. See, my ex has a habit of forgetting that my social circle includes people who actually work for a living. One of those people is my friend's younger sister, who works the morning shift at a McDonald's near the interstate. About an hour after the Best Life post went live, the comments started shifting. It began with the usual, "Yas queen" from her circle of enablers, but then the reality check hit. My friend's sister commented, "Wait, didn't I just serve you a McDouble at the drive-thru? You were wearing the uniform and everything. Glad the CEO, life has flexible hours." The comment section went nuclear. My ex tried to delete it, but someone had already screenshotted it. Then another friend chimed in, "Is that the designer coat you borrowed from the rental site and haven't returned yet?" They sent a collections notice to the old house address. Dead weight usually doesn't leave their debt behind for others to pay. I watched the Best Life story crumble in real time. But the dead weight comment was more than just an insult. It was a strategic move. She was trying to establish a public image of sudden wealth because she was gearing up for a legal battle she thought she could win. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. It was a text from a burner number. "Delete your friend's comments right now. You're ruining my brand. If you don't make them stop, I'm going through with the suit. I'll take half the house. I stayed there for 5 years, I have rights. Don't test me." I didn't reply. In my state, common law marriage doesn't exist. Moreover, I had the deed and every single receipt showing she hadn't paid a dime. But she had a dirty trick up her sleeve. She had forged my signature on a domestic partnership agreement a year ago while I was traveling for work. She thought that document, which claimed we shared all assets 50-50, was her golden ticket. She didn't realize I'd found the digital draft of it on our old shared cloud drive months ago. I called my lawyer. It's time. She's officially claiming the CEO status and threatening the house. Filed a countersuit for the embezzled funds and the fraud. The fallout was instantaneous. Within hours, she deleted the photo, but the damage was done. My inbox was a war zone. Her mother, a woman who had lived off my generosity for years, called me 6 times. I let it go to voicemail. "You're a monster." Her mother's voice crackled through the speaker. "She's working that job to get on her feet, because you kicked her out. How dare you let your friends bully her? If you don't give her the $50,000 she's owed for partnership equity, we're going to the press. We'll tell them you were abusive." I recorded the voicemail and forwarded it to my attorney. 2 days later, I was served. She wasn't just suing for half the house. She had filed for a temporary restraining order based on financial abuse. The goal was to get me legally removed from my own home while the partnership was litigated. We walked into the preliminary hearing a week later. She was dressed in a sharp suit, looking like the victim of the century. Her lawyer argued that she was the domestic backbone and that I was hoarding wealth she helped build. The judge looked at the forged paper. "Mr. My lawyer, does your client contest the signature?" My lawyer stood up, calm as ever. "We don't just contest the signature, Your Honor. We have proof of its fabrication. The agreement was supposedly signed on the 14th of last year. On that date, my client was in London on a documented business trip. We have the flight logs, the hotel receipts, and the timestamped security footage from his office in London. He couldn't have signed a document in Ohio while sitting in a boardroom in Canary Wharf." I watched the color drain from her face. My lawyer added, "We also have the digital trail from the petitioner's laptop. She accessed a PDF editor last month to overlay my client's signature from an old birthday card onto this document. We have the undo history on the cached file." The judge's expression hardened. "This is a very serious allegation. Are you suggesting the petitioner committed forgery?" "I'm proving it, Your Honor. And we're presenting evidence of the $1,200 she transferred out of my client's private savings using a saved password she was never authorized to use. That's grand theft." My ex jumped up, screaming that I promised to take care of her and that I was the dead weight. The judge snapped at her to sit down and denied her restraining order on the spot. He even referred the forged document to the district attorney's office for criminal review. As we walked out, she cornered me in the hallway. "You think you won? I'll make your life a living hell. I'll tell everyone you're a fraud." "You're wearing a uniform under that blazer, aren't you?" I asked quietly. "You have a shift at the Golden Arches in 20 minutes. You should probably go. Dead weight doesn't pay for gas, and I stopped making the payments on that car yesterday." The week following the hearing was a masterclass in desperation. She posted a tearful video, no makeup, bad lighting, claiming I was using wealth and power to silence her. She was actually crowdsourcing her legal fees while wearing a necklace I'd bought her. The real climax happened at 10:45 p.m. on a Tuesday. My security system started blaring. I checked the cameras. There she was in the driveway with a crowbar. She smashed the front window of my home office and climbed through the glass. I walked downstairs and watched her from the hallway. She was frantically pulling drawers out of my desk, looking for the physical agreement she thought I had. "Actually," I said, flipping the light on, "the deed says otherwise." She jumped, spinning around with the crowbar, looking completely unhinged. "Give me the paper. If you give it to me and tell the police it was a mistake, I'll leave. I'm not going to jail because you're a petty coward." "I'm not the one who forged a signature and broke into a house," I said. "The police are 3 minutes out." "I deserve this," she yelled. "I spent 5 years with you. You owe me." The siren started wailing. In a final, desperate move, she grabbed a heavy crystal award from my bookshelf and threw it at my 75-inch TV. Crack. "If I can't have it, nobody can," she hissed. The police burst in 30 seconds later. They found a woman in a pile of glass with a crowbar. As they handcuffed her, she screamed that I was the one who trapped her there. The lead officer looked at me and asked if my system was recording. "High definition and cloud synced," I replied. "Would you like the footage of the break-in, or the part where she tried to extort me for the house?" The criminal trial was short. My ex sat at the defense table in a cheap cardigan, her CEO persona completely dead. Her lawyer tried to argue extreme emotional distress because I stopped paying for her car. The judge wasn't having it, calling it a failed heist rather than a breakdown. The judge handed down 18 months of probation, 200 hours of community service, and a restitution order for $14,000 in property damage. She let out a howl of entitlement. "I can't pay that. I work at McDonald's." Perhaps you should have considered that before you cut the dead weight and destroyed the home that was sheltering you, the judge replied. The final revenge? My investigator found that the $1,200 she stole was used as a retainer for a luxury branding agency. I contacted them with the police report. Since the money was stolen and she was now a convicted felon, they dropped her and returned the funds to me. Then, her employer found out about the felony forgery and the break-in during her probation check. They let her go. I saw her one last time yesterday. I was pulling out of a parking lot in my new truck, and she was standing at a bus stop, clutching a plastic bag. No high-rises, no rented coats, no filters. She saw me and just looked away. She finally realized that without me to play the villain, she was just a person with a mountain of debt and a criminal record. I drove away. I'm not dead weight. I was the foundation that held her up, and once I moved, her entire house of cards fell exactly where it belonged. On the floor. If you enjoyed watching this CEO get demoted to defendant, make sure to subscribe. Unlike my ex's lifestyle, my updates are actually sustainable.